her so much. Thank you, Alan, for creating that tribute from all of Anna and my iPhone footage in just a couple of weeks. It's something we're going to treasure for the rest of our lives. One thing that's clear when I watch this film is that there's barely a scene that doesn't involve our two other daughters, Zoe and Ruby, sitting at the front here. They were as close as sisters could be. They shared a room. They shared everything. Zoe found me crying in the kitchen a couple of days ago, and she said to me, "Daddy, every tear is a memory." I love that you said that, and it's true. And the hardest thing about grief is it takes all of your memories and it taints them with sadness. And we have so many memories together. We have a lot more tears to flow. But whereas today is dedicated to Vanessa, Mummy and I are going to spend the rest of our lives dedicated to you two, making sure that we're a happy family. And if Mummy and Daddy wobble and we're not enough for you, I want you to look around this room and see the army of people that are here to support you. These are all of our friends. Everybody that we care about and that we love and that love Vanessa is here today. So Vanessa, she was born on the 15th of October, 2008. But strangely, it took almost 4 years before we really got to know her. Because as a baby and as a toddler, Vanessa was a cautious, shy, withdrawn child, clammy. She was always the first to get sick, always the last to recover from a cold. And we now, of course, know that it's because for the first 4 years of her life, her body was filled with bony metastases that caused a kind of non-specific pain that weighed her down. But we started treatment in the 4th of November 2012 in Great Ormond Street. And within only 4 or 5 weeks, these metastases had receded. And like a desert flower starved of water, Vanessa's personality shone through for the first time. And we discovered at the age of 4, this sassy, cheeky, defiant child that was above all graceful and gentle, and everyone described her as kind. I think that's just the overriding word for Vanessa. She was very kind, but she drew upon these incredibly deep resources, which we're sure must have come from the first few years of suffering in silence with all her cancer pain. So her life really started in Great Ormond Street, and she blossomed there. And where her friends were at school or on holiday in the beaches and the mountains, Vanessa created a whole universe for herself in a 12-foot by 12-foot room. She made friends, and where there weren't children to befriend, she made best friends with the nurses, who are all sitting here. These aren't just her carers, they were her best friends, her big sisters. She learned, she became smart, she learned to sing, she was a great singer. She created a whole universe in that room. Her body was totally corrupted, but her mind was fresh and strong from the very beginning. Now, I've thought about this, and I think I need to set down for the record what Vanessa went through in the last 5 years. Many of you have got glimpses of it from my Facebook posts or from visiting Vanessa, but I want you to know what Anna and I put our daughter through since 2012. So, with cancer, you have chemotherapy. Vanessa had 11 chemotherapy drugs. She was immune suppressed for over 2.5 years out of the last 5. She had many surgeries. The first big surgery removed all of her intestines to disentangle an 11-centimeter tumor from her abdomen. She had all the ribs on her right broken to have a 5-centimeter tumor removed that was wrapped around her spine behind her heart. We did a lot of radiation. In 2013, Vanessa had nearly total upper body radiation, and then in 2014 again we irradiated her skull at an even higher dose. At the beginning of 2017, Vanessa was sealed in a lead-lined room for 4 weeks, and we took her twice up to 21,000 megabecquerels of radiation. The safe limit for a child is 30 megabecquerels. Some of the footage in that room was filmed while she was sealed behind a lead door. She had a bone marrow transplant, which was horrendous. It nearly killed her. She ended up in intensive care with her liver coagulated. We did antibody therapy in London. We did another immunotherapy in New York, which failed. She was one of the first children in the whole world to have had a cytokine response to a GD2 chimeric antigen receptor that John invented. She had 300 blood transfusions and platelets transfusions. She spent over 350 hours on MRI machines and integrated CT nuclear scans. She lost her hair 5 times. We drilled into her pelvis to take a plug of her bone marrow. We did it 26 times through the same hole, and one for luck post-mortem. She was on morphine for months, ketamine for months. Vanessa lost 12 of her friends by the time she was 8 years old. Children, babies from the ward. Quite a few of the parents of those children are here today, and I want to pay my respect to you as well. And when it got really, really bad, and the ketamine and the love from the nurses was not enough, sometimes I would hold Vanessa tight. I'd kiss her, and I'd say to her repeatedly, "I love you, I'm sorry." And many times she would push me back, and she would say, "Daddy, it's not all about me. Make sure you tell my sisters that we love you too." That was Vanessa. The cancer world is suffused with this military metaphor of battling and fighting. There's a war on cancer. People are described as fighters. We need to defend and we need to attack. I have to tell you, this is language that I have hated from the start, and I urge families in this room not to use it with your friends who have cancer, and I extend this to the doctors and the nurses. It's a terrible language because it implies that the fighters, the people that try hard enough, vanquish, and the corollary is that the people who die, gave up, were weak. This could never ever be said about our daughter. Vanessa was not weak. Her body was corrupted. Her mind was never corrupted, and I will never let her memory be corrupted. Because Vanessa didn't fight cancer. She was aloof to it. She was aloof to the cancer. When we asked Vanessa about it, she would say, "It doesn't matter, this is not important." Vanessa truly rose above her cancer. And that to me is more powerful, and it's the way that I want to remember our child. So today is the last thing that Anna and I will ever do for our daughter, and we wanted to make it perfect. We've included today every aspect of her life that she loved. Music is really important. We have popular music, but we also have some classical music. Vanessa was my friend in music. She used to sit and listen to me on Saturday mornings. We would often hear Beethoven in the evening's list. But most of all, she loved family and friends, and all of the family are here today. And that's what she would have wanted. She didn't need today to be big and bold, but she commanded it. This is what Vanessa commanded. She inspired so much love. She inspired friendship. We had people from Facebook that just got to know her from our posts who, after a couple of years, wrote to me and said, "Please, I've been reading about her for years, can we come and meet her?" I had to schedule our weekends because we had so many people that wanted to hang out with her that we couldn't fit them all in. A wise man once said to me that he couldn't understand, because it's often said that a parent is only as happy as their saddest child, and he couldn't understand why I was so happy, and I'm a happy person. And I'll tell you why. It's because Vanessa's hospital room was a happy place. I loved going there after work. I loved coming back to Vanessa. There was always music, she was always making things, she was always telling jokes. I loved curling up at night and watching a movie with her. Nurses would stay late after their shift just to hang out with Vanessa. That doesn't happen very often. So Vanessa was a happy child, and I want today to be a happy day. She inspired love, she inspired friendship, she furthered science, and she made me a better person. So Vanessa, this is for you today.